Hi, my name is Lindsay Lakari, and I am making these videos because I am currently being defrauded by the Nevada justice system. I'm being attacked by the Nevada justice system, and this all stemmed from a marriage that lasted 60 days, and they committed mortgage fraud against me. And I was then put through 4 years of litigation in which still today, I do not have my name back. They refused to divorce me, and they are now trying to steal the entire proceeds of my home and label me a criminal and label me a vexuous, which means that you're someone that files frivolous lawsuits, which is all completely untrue. So now the attacks have started to come on my foundation, which I do honestly. I run a childhood cancer foundation, and I absolutely love my work, and I love the children, and I do it in honor of my son. So when the attacks now became on my work and the legacy of my son, and I went through the court process and I followed all the processes I could have followed, and I was still being denied justice and abused to the point where I had to leave the state of Nevada because of the abuse, because I now fear for my life and safety. So this is why I'm making the videos. And this one is going to be part one of the conspiracy. So they're trying to say that how on earth could 15, 16 judges get this wrong? Or should we just blame this one African-American woman and tell everybody she's crazy? So that's what they're trying to do. So I am going to show you exactly what they did and how it began. And it all started with, for those who don't know, if you guys haven't gone back to the past videos, basically I married a man, he married me to defraud me, and with the realtor forged my name to a quitclaim deed, which has now he's had complete control over my assets for 4 years, why they forced me through litigation, why everybody knew the fraud had been committed. So nobody cared that I just lost my son. Nobody cared that I was going through enough pain and suffering. It was all more important to everybody in this situation to protect each other, protect the companies. And as a Black woman in America, I'm not entitled to restitution and justice for crimes committed against me. And the more that I ask for restitution and damages and justice for the crimes committed against me, the more I'm attacked. So when I found out I wasn't on the title of my home, it was June 26th, and I filed for divorce. And I also filed a police report because that was never the agreement. So on June 26th, I then also went and retained counsel. And at this time, I've never talked to a lender. I've never talked to the title company. The only people I know in this transaction is Linda Na and Bobby Antee. Bobby Antee is now my ex-husband, which I am entitled to annulment from. And that is also what I am fighting for, because for 4 years, I've been called this man's name. For 4 years, he's had complete control over me being able to buy my own house, me being able to move on and remarry. And it's a complete social injustice, and it's abuse of our legal system. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what they did. So when I found out I wasn't on the title of the home, I never agreed to this. I then went to GLVAR and filed a complaint. This was the first place I went after the police station. So GLVAR is the ethics committee, and they monitor the realtors and everybody else. So when I go to GLVAR, they immediately just throw out my complaint. So I had to appeal my complaint. And when I appealed the complaint, I got documents back. In those documents was the first time, first of all, that Bobby changed his story. So if you guys have watched previous videos and you heard the audio, Bobby admitted he didn't know I wasn't on the title. He didn't tell me he was at a closing. It's all on the audio file. But now he is now teaming up with the realtor in the respondent docs and trying to conceal the fraud that they committed together. So in June 26th, when I filed for divorce, Linda Na, the realtor, got Bobby attorneys. And this was at Shumway Van. So Bobby was being represented by Shumway Van. And now from the respondent docs, Garrett Chase at Shumway Van was now representing Linda Na. So this is very clear legal malpractice. They cannot represent the same clients. Rule 1.8 of Nevada Professional Code of Procedure is you can't impose a conflict of interest. So this is the beginning of where this starts. So they then respond to my complaint that my name was forged, my money was stolen, and I get respondent docs. So this is the very first time I learn that Bobby's story is changing. It's no longer he's sorry and he didn't know. And Linda's story, completely different. And their stories don't even match. And then they produce, Bobby, Linda, and Shumway Van Garrett Chase, they produce a quitclaim deed to me. This is the first time I ever saw a quitclaim deed. I never signed a quitclaim deed. We never had any conversations about me not being on the deed. We never had any conversations about me buying a house for Bobby. There was never any of these conversations. It was always we were supposed to sign together as a married couple. And when I no longer wanted the house and I canceled in writing, her and Bobby decided they would continue this process without me, but using my money. And then when I caught her, she got him a lawyer. And then for 2 years, they conspired using the same attorneys. So I'm going to show you exactly how they did it through their own documentation. And I hope you guys all please share this video, share the injustice happening in our legal system, and each judge that is responsible for ignoring the evidence that I'm going to show you and concealing mortgage fraud, according to the law, should be punished and put in jail for mortgage fraud. So I want all these judges held accountable. I want the law firms held accountable. And I want the notary that forged my name, Nikki Bott, imprisoned. There's no reason why 4 years after I've reported this crime that no one's been arrested and everybody is allowed to freely attack me. So please tune into the video, share the video, sign the petition, and this is part 1 of how they begin the conspiracy to defraud a grieving mother.
Realtor Linda Purdue, the monster who has started this entire disaster, conspired with Bobby Antee and retained him counsel with Shumway Van. They would like you guys to believe that I am crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to walk you through how they did this in the documents that they submitted in June of 2018 that clearly proved mortgage fraud. My first complaint was to GLVAR against Linda Purdue. I had never spoke to anybody else in this transaction except for Linda, so that is the only person I could report. So I reported her to Nevada Real Estate Division and to GLVAR. On the left, notice legal separation docs filed to Raina Hughes in a separate case in December of 2018. On the right, you will find respondent docs that were also uploaded to Raina Hughes in the legal separation docs in December of 2018. So Raina Hughes had very clear evidence for 2 years prior to the trial that there was notary fraud. Notice the case information, the first page. It says I filed for divorce June 26, 2018. At that time, my judge was Kathy Hardcastle. You can look at the first page on the bottom right and notice that Bobby Antee was being represented by Shumway Van already in June of 2018. Therefore, could not represent Linda when she filed her case in December of 2018. Right after I filed the second case of legal separation, in which I reported notary fraud, mortgage fraud, and harassment from Bobby Antee through the legal separation docs to Raina Hughes in both the divorce and the legal separation case, in which Raina Hughes concealed this evidence and allowed me to go through 4 years of litigation. Nevada Rules of Professional Conduct, Rule 1.7, Conflict of Interest with Current Clients. A representation of one client will be directly adverse to another client. So therefore, Shumway Van could not represent Bobby Antee and Linda, being that the outcome of Bobby's case would directly affect Linda's case. This legal malpractice was ignored by GLVAR, Raina Hughes, Nevada State Bar, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and later on you will find out many more also concealed this legal malpractice that is still occurring today. Garrett Chase, representing Linda Na and Bobby Antee, was the person who produced the proof of notary fraud, yet for 3 years has unjustly enriched and attacked me through endless litigation, trying to continue to utter a forged deed to be true. NRS 205.110, uttering forged instruments, forgery. Every person, knowing the same to be forged or altered with the intent to defraud, shall utter, offer, dispose of, or put off as true, or have in his or her possession with the intent to utter, offer, dispose, or put off as a forged writing instrument or other thing, the false making, forging, or altering of which is punishable as forgery, shall be guilty of forgery, the same as the forged, as if they forged it themselves. Therefore, Shumway, Van, Linda Na, and Bobby Antee are all guilty of forgery because they uttered it to be true. The next 2 slides are the first 2 pages of the response from Garrett Chase, who was already representing Bobby Antee in June of 2018 and then wrote this response in December of 2018, in which he states, Lindsay Antee's appeal from the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors GLVAR Grievance Committee dismissal of Miss Antee's ethics complaint. So he admits here that when I initially filed the complaint in July, they just dismissed it. Miss Antee's appeal statement makes false allegations about Miss Na at the basis for her disagreement with the Grievance Committee's decision. Therefore, as discussed further below, the Grievance Committee's decision dismissing Miss Antee's complaint was well-founded and should be affirmed by the appellant panel. Miss Na has already provided a detailed narrative of the transaction that is the subject of Miss Antee's complaint and this appeal. In her response to Miss Antee's complaint to the Real Estate Licensing Division, which is also dismissed in its entirety. Miss Na also provided documents, text messages, and statements from Bobby Antee in the response in that complaint. So they again admit that Nevada Real Estate Division also ignored all of this evidence. So we're going to the second page where he continues his statement as, Miss Antee's appeal statement accuses Miss Na of manipulating her into signing gift letters, refusing to cancel the sale, taking her money, leaving Miss Antee off the deed, and not disclosing fees or giving Miss Antee an opportunity to review anything. So they were very aware in December of the allegations. In fact, it was the lender in the transaction that requested the gift letters to be executed by Miss Antee and not Miss Na. But you will later find out through Miss Na's testimony that it was her and I never spoke to the lender. He continues to say, regarding Miss Antee's perpetuated cancellation request, Miss Antee had become frustrated with the closing process and texted Miss Na on January 15, 2018 in a group text conversation with her and Bobby that she wanted to cancel because the sale had not yet closed. He continues to say, Miss Na also informed both Bobby and Lindsay Antee that they could cancel the sale after extending the closing if they wanted to. So keep that part in mind as well. Miss Antee's accusations that Miss Na didn't disclose fees or give her an opportunity to review documents are also contradicted by the correspondence between the parties, which demonstrate that Miss Antee had ample time and opportunity to review all aspects of the sale. First, Miss Na had nothing to do with the decision to only list Bobby. So that is the first 2 pages that we are looking at of the statement of Garrett Chase, and I will continue to the next slide. So we'll begin at the top of the 3rd page of the lawyer's statement, and it says, furthermore, Miss Antee willingly signed the title documents at the time of closing without raising any concerns about Bobby being on title. And then he provides the forged quitclaim deed. So here he is clearly uttering a forged deed to be true. And if you look on the right, the date is November 20th, 2018, as both representation for Linda Na and Bobby Antee, and they uttered this forged deed to be true and tried to litigate it as community property for 2 years, until later finding out that I got a letter from an expert that again confirmed my name was forged and I was not at the closing and not on board with the purchase of this home. Here you will find Linda Na's statement to GLVAR when she responded to the complaint. Her story does not match. She tells on herself and contradicts herself, and you'll later hear Bobby Antee's statement, which also doesn't match Linda Na's statement. So how did GLVAR miss this ethics complaint and arrest nobody? If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you will see the date is July 12th, 2018. So GLVAR had this statement from Linda Na and all the evidence that I had given them for months before ever addressing this appeal. You will see here on the top where the part is highlighted, Linda Na's statement. I knew of her from social media and knew that she had lost her son to cancer. So she admits that she knew how much money I raised and she followed me. Everything was great until towards the last week of the transactions, Lindsay did a complete 180 and became a different person than I had met. During the process, I knew they had a lot of frustrations and confusions with the closing and the lender. It was January 15th when things clearly changed in the transaction and Lindsay was threatening an attorney on the lender. Then I'm going down to the working with Bobby section. I never knew Bobby Antee until Lindsay introduced him to me when we were previewing houses. Even though Bobby was the only client on the loan, I had more of a relationship with Lindsay and worked with her throughout the beginning of the transaction. They were married. There was no reason for me to believe they were not communicating, and I worked mainly with Bobby as Lindsay was no longer corresponding to me, but everything was in group text between the three of us. So I'm going down to the lenders where lender document requests. I was helping them get their documents to the lender so that we could close on the house they wanted to buy. So if you look in the upper right-hand corner on the other sheet, it clearly says, yes, once the loan docs are delivered at title, you will both have to go in to sign. You are not on the loan, but since you guys are married, you will need to sign the deed. Once you sign, we can close within 24 hours. So she clearly said that we would both sign the deed, the title to the home. There was never any talk about me signing a quitclaim deed and gifting a house to Bobby Antee. So page 2 of Linda Na's statement, there was 3 gift letters that Lindsay had to sign according to the lender, paying off Bobby's car, paying off 2 of Bobby's credit cards, and the down payment and closing cost. Lindsay complained that she told me and Bobby she was willing to spend $50,000 on a house. This is correct, she did. And I went out and helped them find a home that was within their budget as she had told me. As far as debts that was required to be paid off, I had nothing to do with me. I'm unsure of the details of this. They were very upset with the lender for requesting these documents. I knew they didn't understand the lending process, so I called Lindsay numerous times to explain and help them get the letter of explanations for the deposits and bank statements. So she admits I never spoke to the lender. She was relaying messages back and forth in which she never ever told me about any of his debts. She was just as frustrated with the lender and lending process. This was the point where I began being the source of communication between the lender and the buyers. They were pressuring me to close on the house, but they weren't cooperating with the lender. The lender was requesting explanations of deposits in Bobby's accounts and signed gift letters. So they wanted Bobby to explain where he got all this money from because none of it was his. But Bobby was not providing me with any gift letters or asking me about using this money. He was just doing it without gift letters behind my back. So on the bottom, the week of closing. On Monday, January 15th, 2018, I called Lindsay as I knew she was upset through her text. When I spoke with her, Lindsay was angry and frustrated and threatening to sue the mortgage company. She demanded speaking to the underwriter, in which I told her that was not possible. I knew this to be true as I still verified it with the lender. She kept telling me this wasn't true and her attorney told her otherwise. So I provided her with this COO of Valley West Mortgage and the closing disclosure so that her attorney may contact them and see. So Linda Na admits that I asked her what was being paid off and she provided me with nothing. And I never talked to the lender or underwriter, so I had no idea what was being paid off. There were 3 gift letters executed prior to me canceling the purchase of the home. One was for $65,000, which was the down payment of the house. One for $3,000, which was the earnest deposit for the house. And one for $4,060, which was the payoff for Bobby Antee's car, that was paid off prior to retaining Linda and even starting the loan process. Also notice on the top that it says that these are gift letters that will not be retracted, and that's what makes them valid. Linda Na still used these gift letters after I canceled the transaction and then paid off his student loans without any authorization by taking it out of the deposit. Page 3 of Linda Na's statement, Respondent Docs, page number 12. She appeared concerned about where she was going to live because they had to move out of their apartment. So I explained that they were just days away from closing and that I could help them find a place to go. At the end of the conversation, Lindsay said she wanted to cancel. I followed her demand and started to draft the cancellation. I followed up with a text to her and Bobby, and shortly after our conversation advised them I was drafting the cancellation. Bobby Antee responded back that if they don't have the keys by Friday, they will turn in the cancellation. I am again now confused. I thought that maybe they were angry and just making threats to cancel, but they really didn't want to. I then tried to call Bobby in case my text was confusing, but got no answer, so I texted him again. He confirmed for me to keep moving on with the loan, so that's exactly what I instructed the lender to do. I also informed them that if they wanted to cancel after the extension is signed, they still can. Had no reason to believe that he and Lindsay were not communicating together, as everything was all communicated through group text. From this point on, the only communication I had from Lindsay was when she sent me the gift letter via text the day before signing. So therefore, she admits she never talked to me and never got my consent to continue on with the house. She got it from Bobby. So on signing the deed, Tuesday, January 16th, I texted a group message that I needed to set up a signing for them both. Bobby responded that Lindsay was out of town, so I offered to send them a mobile notary, but he said she would be back by midnight. So I went on to set up the signing for 10 a.m. the following day. This was the only communication I had with her since Monday, January 15th. So she admits I did not tell her to continue on with the loan. She talked to Bobby solely. It was only Bobby responding to all the requests from the lender. I assumed she was no longer wanted to deal with it and put him in charge. Lindsay did not have to sign the gift letters nor continue to cooperate with the lender's request if she truly wanted to cancel. Since she was cooperating and at the instructions of Bobby, her husband, everyone moved forward. So now on January 17th, 2018. Signing day comes. Bobby texts me that Lindsay was not feeling well and did not want to go to the signing. So I again tried to accommodate and asked if they wanted me to send a notary to the apartment. Bobby showed up to the signing alone. Right before the signing, Lindsay sent Bobby a letter that if they were to divorce, he would agree to pay her back $75,000. Bobby was confused and upset. He told me he loved his wife and he's not divorcing her, so he signed the letter. She knew that Bobby was at the signing for the house. In her complaint, she claims that Bobby and I knew she was mentally not okay, but she clearly was sane enough to draft a letter of repayment for him. She also was sane enough to go to the bank and wire the down payment and walk into the title company and sign the deed. So if you've listened to the audio files from Bobby, you know that I did not go to the title company and I did not sign the deed. So here in July, Linda Na is uttering a forged deed to be true. And if you look to the right, you can see the text message that I sent her, and I told her to cancel the house and that I would look into getting my earnest money back and contact my lawyer. She continued after I canceled the house without me and put the house in Bobby's name. Page 4 of Linda Na's statement to GLVAR, Respondent Docs 13 and 14. I thought Lindsay's behavior was due to her grieving her son's death and that the move was hard on her. I never once thought she didn't want the house. After Bobby signed the closing documents, he was given wire instructions for the down payment. To close on the house, Lindsay would have to wire the down payment and still go into the title and sign the deed. Since Lindsay was not communicating with me, I had no idea when she went to the title to sign, nor when she wired the funds until escrow officer emailed me the update. So she's acknowledging that the escrow officer, Nikki Bott, was also the notary, and she said that I came in and signed this deed. That's clear fraud. So the next paragraph, Lindsay also made another claim that she dropped off the check the title as it was wired and asked the title where she was to sign, but they took the check and said she didn't have anything to sign. This is a lie, Exhibit 8. So she attaches the forged deed and the letter from the title company stating that Lindsay signed the quitclaim deed with the notary on January 17, 2018. But we have a letter from an expert that proves, no, I did not sign it, and Bobby's testimony that I didn't even come into the title company. So she's clearly trying to conceal fraud in her statement. Lindsay has also always known that she needed to sign off on the deed. I explained this many times through text, in person, and via phone, but she cannot provide anywhere where she told me I was not going to be on the deed and the house would have to solely be in Bobby's name and I would solely pay for it. She provided no evidence of this. According to Bobby's letter, Exhibit 9, he has no problem adding her to the deed, but they are now in the middle of divorce and the attorneys are handling their property. So her attorneys are now handling this for him. Lindsay claims she made it clear she wanted to be on title. We never had this conversation. However, we wouldn't need to. When a married couple purchases a home together and the other spouse can't be on the loan, I explained to them the title process so that they're aware they both will need to be available to sign at closing. This is what the title company is for, and this is what they review with clients at signing. So if they reviewed this with Bobby at signing, then they made it very clear to him that he was signing it as his sole and separate property. Therefore, they encouraged him to commit fraud. This is a lender's insurance and title guidelines, not mine. They would have to go in to sign another quitclaim deed after closing to add her to the home. Yet, it was 6 months before I found out I wasn't on the home, and Bobby never once mentioned I wasn't on the home. In conclusion, there was zero harm done to her by not being on the deed initially, as no matter what, she still owns 50% of the home. So she basically entered a failed marriage and now wants a refund for everything. So she's basically saying that her giving Bobby 50% of my assets was no harm to me. And then June 26th, this was the day I found out that I wasn't on the title. So this is a lie again. We never spoke. She texted me about the deed, threatened to sue me. Please see attached Exhibit 10 with my response. I was so upset at the fact that she was threatening to sue out of nowhere again that I initially thought she wrote, I bought a home with Bobby without her knowledge. So I responded, I did not buy a home with Bobby without your knowledge. Bobby and you purchased a home. I stayed professional and kept it short. I knew there was no reasoning with her as I followed her on social media and I wasn't going to be one of her next victims that she rants and slanders. So again, she begins mocking the death of my son and everything that we went through after she's committed fraud against me and now conspired with Bobby to conceal it. So if you go to the page on the right, R14, just like how Lindsay stopped her communication with me, Bobby and Lindsay both stopped communication with the lender. So I was in the middleman trying to help the process and staying in communication with everybody. So again, I never talked to the lender. And the lender has done nothing but evade service. His name is Drew Levy. I never spoke to him. He had only conversations with Bobby in which I can prove they lied on loan paperwork. You can also see that she put the escrow agent, Nikki, Bott. So she was very aware that Nikki Bott signed as Nikki Secaucus on the forged quitclaim deed and then tried to lie and say she worked for Stewart Title when you can see on the wire paperwork she clearly worked for National Title. This is Respondent Docs, page 44 by Linda Na, and you can see at the top of this text message that she tells Bobby to call her, and they have separate conversations. She also admits to calling the lender because I never spoke to a lender. Her and Bobby were the only ones who ever spoke to the lender about any of the debts that needed to be paid off or how any of the money was going to be used. Then again, she says she'll set us both up for signing until I did not show up to the signing. Respondent Docs 43 is another piece of the same message where they admit that they did not know I did not go out of town, they had not spoken to me, and the notary was because they thought I was in Washington, D.C. It was never because they ever discussed with me that I would not be on the title of the home or I'd be signing a quitclaim deed. Here is the full text message. Notice at the top, Linda Na is asking for a duplicate gift letter. Again, not in her fiduciary duties. They say I'm on a flight and hopefully I will want to sign it. So they were very clear that I did not want to continue on with the purchase of the home. Linda acknowledged by also saying hopefully she will sign, being that she never spoke to me and they both knew I did not want the house. Bobby knew I would not attend the closing because I did not want the house, so he asked her to send a mobile notary, thinking I was going to be home at midnight. I never authorized him to attend a closing, and she clearly called him on separate communications and set up a closing for Bobby, knowing that I was not on board with buying the home. Respondent docs 48 and 49. This was the first time I found out that there was a forged quitclaim deed when it was submitted to GLVAR by Linda Na, Shumway Van, and Bobby Antee in the respondent docs as Exhibit 8. So in each one of their statements, they say that I signed this forged quitclaim deed. You can look on the first sheet in the upper left-hand corner. You can see National Title Company was the escrow company who handled this. It says Lindsay Licari, spouse of grantee, here does by grant, bargain, and sell conveyed title to Bobby Antee, a married man, as his sole and separate property, which you guys heard from the recordings that I never signed this. You will see on the right side the forged signature, and then you will see here it says Nikki Secaucus. So Nikki Secaucus and Nikki Bott are the exact same people. So she collected commission as the escrow agent and then also collected notary fees and forged my name. Therefore, the deed, this forged quitclaim deed, is not valid. So this loan could have never closed, and this evidence was given to GLVAR, to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and to the Nevada Real Estate Division, all before July of 2018. And now 4 years later, they are still trying to conceal this evidence. Also notice the text message from Bobby on July 1st, prior to conspiring with Linda Na and Shumway Van, that he admits I didn't come to the title company, nor did I sign any paperwork. In fact, he actually admits that no one ever spoke to me about not being on the title, and at that time, he didn't even know I wasn't on the title. Here we have the wire instructions uploaded in legal separation docs to Raina Hughes in December of 2018. So she had clear understanding that Nikki Secaucus Bott was also the notary and the escrow agent. So me telling them that my signature was forged was very clear evidence. You can also see Linda Na stating that Nikki Bott worked for Stewart Title when she clearly worked for National Title, and it was another lie that Linda Na told to try to conceal the crime she committed. Respondent Docs Exhibit 9. This is a statement from Bobby Antee to GLVAR in July of 2018 on the behalf of Linda Na. So this is the first time I heard Bobby Antee change his story. At first, he was apologetic and he didn't know I wasn't on the house. But now that he has started conspiring with Linda Na and Shumway Van, he now had a completely different statement. Notice how Bobby Antee's statement, Linda Na's statement, and the lawyer's statement do not match. But GLVAR took no action at all and concealed the mortgage fraud reported to them for 2 years.
Okay. I told you to leave. Okay. If you didn't want your marriage, leave.
How did you buy this house?
If you don't want to be with me, leave.
How?
Because you wasn't on the loan. What do you mean?
I didn't have to be on the loan to be on the deed. So why am I not on this house? Why? You didn't know when you were sitting there
still your
at the
house.
signing?
What's the big deal?
No, you made it clear to me that it's
still
not.
your house.
No, you made it clear to me that it's
about this
not.
house. I'm about to move out. I don't care about this house. I told you. I said,
if I'm your friend,
you not together, if you not together, if we're not married, this house ain't shit. You think I want this fucking house?
Here you will see my fourth attempt at filing a police report. This one was filed on 1/7/2020, a month prior to the divorce hearing where Raina Hughes fabricated her ruling. I clearly let them know of the fraud and forgery. Here you'll see the second page of that police report, where it clearly states that I had came in numerous times to report this, that Nikki Bott acted as the notary and the escrow agent, and that I did not agree to the debts that were being paid off in the loan. All my police reports have been ignored. Also notice at the bottom of the narrative on the police report, they clearly state that I brought in a lot of evidence. So all the evidence that I have submitted to GLVAR, to the real estate board, to the police department, to Raina Hughes, it was all given to everybody. And everyone concealed this information to protect the companies and to protect Linda Na, Bobby Antee, and Nikki Bott, while everybody freely attacks me, even though I am the only person who followed the process and I am the only victim in this situation. At this time, I also submitted evidence to the police department that the Secretary of State had filed a report against Nikki Bott and did not follow the procedure in reporting her to the district attorney or to the police department. Yet the police department still did absolutely nothing about the crimes I was reporting to them. At the time of this police report, I was being represented by Jennings and Fulton now for over a year. They were 1 month away from the divorce trial hearing that was coming up in February. So not only did Jennings and Fulton, Chris Tillman, Shumway Van, and the police department, GLVAR, the real estate division, and the Secretary of State all have this information, they went to the trial and purposely, knowingly concealed it to conceal mortgage fraud and put me through 2 days of abuse from the people who violated me in the first place. And the Las Vegas Police Department did absolutely nothing to stop it. No matter how much evidence I gave everybody, they all worked together to conceal it and allowed me to go through 2 years of pure hell while I waited for the trial that was held in February of 2020 by Raina Hughes, even though they all had this evidence that the deed wasn't valid and there should have never even been a trial.
Out of this equation. Good luck.
Why did I for $60-some thousand on a house I wouldn't be on? Why would I do that? And why wouldn't you tell me that I wasn't on it? Even when I talked about
You didn't come back to the damn office to sign nothing.
then you shouldn't have signed it either.
But the thing
Because
is,
we were a married couple. You shouldn't have signed it by yourself without me.
But
I
you
told
went down there like now and got
Okay.
yourself on the deal.
No, I can't.
It's not
No,
like
I
you
can't.
can't get on it. And
No,
you
I
acting
can't.
like I'm trying to take something from you, but I'm not. You're going to get whatever it is you got coming to you.
You didn't tell me to get out of my house.
Nothing from you.
You didn't just tell those people they could stay here when we both
Damn right.
agreed.
I don't
We
need to be
both
here by
agreed
myself.
that they should leave.
They are leaving. They go to Orlando on Thursday night.
Well,
They flying out of here.
where was I sleeping for the last 2 nights?
You've been at your mom's house.
No,
right?
I haven't. I don't even have a place to go. Not a place to shower, not a place to eat. And then I told you he put his hands on me.
Yeah, but I
And the
told
girl,
you.
you want to see the mark? She
I
scratched
told
me.
you.
So both of them downstairs attacked me and reported it all on the phone.
Stay downstairs, and you and your mom can stay up here, like you said.
Look, you know when I changed my name on Facebook, you saw that. But you went to a
I
site.
signed like 40 documents. Okay, they was giving me papers.
It doesn't matter. You shouldn't have signed one without your wife.
You didn't want to be there.
I didn't want the house.
You wanted the house. You wasn't on no paperwork.
I didn't want this house.
You should
We
have
go
paid
back
for
to
it.
the messages.
You drove yourself down to the bank and wired the money. You shouldn't have paid for it.
Bobby, what did I tell you? I said I wanted to spend $50,000 on a house, and we had to pay one credit
And
card.
we wouldn't even have
And
to
what
spend that
happened?
much.
What happened?
If you could have been on the house, we could have spent like $20,000. But you couldn't be on the
Well,
house.
you know what I could
Stop
have been?
trying to blame me for this
You know what I could have been? On the house. We could have paid my $12,000
Why
I
didn't
owe
you?
because my son just died, and I trusted you to take care of it. And look what I got.
You told me you was 80 grand in debt.
No, I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay.
12 grand in debt. That makes no sense.
Well, why wouldn't you
It
check
doesn't
it
make
out
sense.
besides
You
paying
talking
your
about
own?
bankruptcy and you 12 grand
Then
in
why
debt.
would you pay almost 20 grand in your own debt and buy a house and not even look into your wife's affairs? Because you cared about
Because
Bott.
you said, baby, I'm gonna file bankruptcy. We'll fix my
And
we'll get another
at that
house.
time, did I not say I can't be on the loan, but we can both be on the
But
title?
I'm not
Did
gonna
I?
do nothing malicious towards you, Lindsay.
So we've been
see Bobby's testimony, he just said he didn't know I wasn't on the title of the home. But you see here, clearly on the deed of trust, he signed as his sole and separate property as a married man. So he was very clear of what he was doing. Also notice to the right that there is a second notary, Melanie Traynor. Melanie Traynor is also the next door neighbor of Nikki Secaucus Bott. So again, very clear fraud reported to the police department and GLVAR. Page 1 of Bobby Antee's statement to GLVAR on the behalf of Linda Na, written on July 17, 2018. I'm writing this letter to let you know my experience with our realtor, Linda Na, against false claims of my wife, Lindsay Antee. My wife knew she couldn't be on the loan due to her credit, but she was the one who was putting the down payment. I was only qualified for $200K and the house was $256. The mortgage company, after running my credit, said that I would have to sell my car in order to get qualified. Then right before the closing, they told us that we had to pay off my student loans and 2 credit cards, which came out to a little over $11K. My car was upside down, $4,000, which my wife paid off. The student loans came out of the down payment from the house. Lindsay had to sign multiple gift letters for the money she gave me for the house. She had to step in and help us get all the correct paperwork to the lender so that we could close on our home. The week of the closing, Lindsay was starting to get worried because the mortgage company hadn't called us with the approval and kept asking us for the same statements and gift letters. Linda and I communicated about our loan and closing through our group chat text until the end. Lindsay can't say she knew nothing about this. I went to the title company alone because she did not want to go. While I was there at the signing, she sent me a contract for repayment of $75K for the down payment and my debts if we were going to divorce. The total down payment and my debt repayment was a total of $65,000 plus the car of $4,000. After I signed the paperwork for the house, I took the wire instruction to her office and told her that we would be homeowners. All we had to do was wire $62K over to the bank. I left the wire instructions with her and I went to the bank. She went on her own to the bank, and if she didn't want the house, she shouldn't have wired the money. After Lindsay wired the money, Linda checked on us to see how we were doing, and I told her we weren't doing good. So she told me we could still cancel the home. So now notice the inconsistencies here. They have no gift letters for debt. Bobby says that he went to the title company alone. And Linda admits, I didn't come to the title company. They both admit to getting the letter at the title company. And that is acknowledging that I retracted all gift letters and that she should have stopped the process. Bobby Antee had every interest in continuing because, like he said, at closing, he paid off his student loans. Again, he admitted, I never attended the closing and I never saw any of this paperwork. So now this is Bobby's whole story completely changing. This is the letter agreement sent to Bobby via email on the day of the closing prior to signing a duplicate gift letter. In this agreement, it clearly states that all the monies given to Bobby are not gifts, and they were only given to him to help him qualify for the loan, and we would both be listed on the title of the home. I sent this to him, in which he signed. He admitted he signed. Linda Na admitted she was sitting with him when he signed it and sent it back. There was never 2 copies, nor did he ever change any stipulations in this contract. So therefore, because he took me to court over this contract, he's entitled to pay all legal fees. Yet I have been charged with all legal fees up until this point. This is the same contract Chris Tillman, my first lawyer, told me I was not eligible to file annulment because of the wording I put in this contract. But when Bobby was part of the fraud and knowingly fraudulently conveyed title into his own name, I no longer needed this contract. In this frame, you will see at the bottom of Linda Na's statement that she says she was sitting with Bobby Antee when he received this contract. If you look at the top of the gift letters, they say that the gift letters will not be retracted by any other documentation. So Linda Na, sitting with Bobby Antee, knowing that he got this contract, should have stopped the loan and continued predatory practices and closed the loan and conveyed title into Bobby Antee's name solely. In Linda Na's statement on the right, she clearly says, I went into the title company and signed the quitclaim deed. She also states that she talked to me several times about this and that she told me I would not be on the title of the home. This is incorrect. She also was very aware that Nikki Bott acted as the notary and the escrow agent, and I later, 2 years after this complaint, got a letter from an expert that again confirmed that my signature was forged and that Nikki Bott, Linda Na, Bobby Antee, Shumway Van have all conspired together to conceal this for now 4 years. The law states that anyone who knowingly conceals a crime is therefore guilty of that crime. Linda Na, Bobby Antee, and Shumway Van have knowingly concealed mortgage fraud for 4 years. They uttered a forged deed to be true. Bobby swindled credit to obtain the home, and he lied on loan documents. The evidence was overwhelming. Yet GLVAR, Nevada Real Estate Board, Chris Tillman, my own lawyer, and then my second group of lawyers, Jennings and Fulton, with Logan Wilson, Jared Jennings, and Adam Fulton, all had this information and continue to unjustly enrich by collecting legal fees over 4 years while they litigated over a deed they knew to be invalid. Therefore, each person should be subjected to the 20 years in prison for concealing mortgage fraud, NRS 205.372 1A and B. Linda said we could still change our mind and cancel, but she wouldn't be able to save our earnest money. So I made the decision to keep moving forward. So he admits there that he did not talk to me. He made the choice on his own to continue with the purchase of the house using my money. Lindsay is making outrageous claims and slandering me and Linda on social media. She's telling people that Linda and I were working together to buy the house with her money without putting her on the deed, like we were out to scam her. I barely knew Linda when we were buying the house. Lindsay has gone as far as to delete all the text messages from in my phone during the time we were buying the house because she knows she was lying. We know that is not true because he posts text messages all over the fake pages trying to explain what he's done. Linda explained to me that all we needed to do was go to the title company and do a quitclaim to add her to the deed. If we were to stay married, I would have had no problem going to add her name to the deed, but everything is now being handled through my attorney. Linda isn't the only person Lindsay has an issue with. She also has issues and complaints with her son's doctors, her family, Make-A-Wish, St. Jude. She even had an issue with the cancer family she was supposed to be helping. So this is the same cancer family that you guys hear in the recording where he says we agreed that ask him to leave. But once they were able to conspire with Bobby and help him pack my stuff and move me out of the house, he had no problem letting them stay there. And this was only the same time I found out I wasn't on the deed of the house. On the right, you will see an email to Bobby Antee dated on January 18th, 2018, the day after he closed on the house without my permission. I clearly asked him for annulment. You can also see at the top of this email that I also sent this to my counsel December 3rd, 2018. So they were very clear that I didn't want the house, but did absolutely nothing to defend me, but charged me $4,000 for a year of doing absolutely nothing. On January 18th, when I asked for annulment, Bobby still had ample time to cancel the house. He says in his statement that he told Linda Na he did not want to cancel the house and he wanted to keep the transaction as it was. This was because he knew he paid off his entire life, his student loans, his credit cards, and now the house was simply in his name. So why on earth would he ever cancel even though his wife told him to? This is the closing disclosure. You can clearly see everybody who attended the closing and knowingly fraudulently conveyed title into Bobby Antee's name. Each person on this CD, Melissa Parker, Linda Na, Nikki Bott, and Drew Levy, all collected commission on closing on this loan. If you look on the right, Bobby Antee paid off $8,000 of his student loans, and that did not include any of the other debt that was paid off prior to the closing to qualify him for the loan. So each person, except for me, stood to benefit by closing on this transaction. Not one person cared that I had just lost my son, that this man was defrauding me, and that I no longer wanted to buy this house. They only cared about their commission and the fact that they think they have enough friends now that they will never be held accountable for the crimes they've committed against me.
All right. So I know that was a long video, but you guys can now see step by step what these people are doing. That they have known about the fraud since December of 2018, that Raina Hughes concealed this and allowed my attorneys to unjustly enrich. Chris Tillman charged me $4,000 and did absolutely nothing and concealed mortgage fraud. And Jennings and Fulton charged me $16,000, and I am still now 4 years later, not divorced, I do not have the freedom to buy my own house, and now being labeled a criminal. They have put restraining orders on me, and I don't even live in the state of Nevada. I had to leave to protect myself. So my losses have now accumulated to over $150,000 in just damages that have been done to me over the last 4 years. It does not include the restitution, special damages, punitive damages, are the penalties for the crimes that they committed. So it has been more important to Aaron Ford, Attorney General of Nevada, Governor Sisolak, the Governor of Nevada, Deborah Conway, which you can see, she also concealed the mortgage fraud by watching one of my other videos, and the Secretary of State, all knew about this fraud and allowed me to be attacked and used the fact that I was under so much pain and pressure and spread so thin through the loss of my son that they were able to drag this out now for 4 years. A 60-day marriage where the man married me to defraud me and then forged my name to a quitclaim deed to get the house into his name. Everybody benefited. Linda got commission. The notary got commission, the lender got commission, the title company got commission. Everybody in this situation benefited. Bobby got his whole life paid off and his student loans, except for me, at my cost. So they stole this money out of my account, illegally wired it out of my account, and put this house in Bobby Antee's name, and then forced me to live in it, even though I reported to them over and over again that fraud had occurred and I did not want the house and that I was entitled to a government attorney and they should have been prosecuted. 4 years later, they are all free. They're making fake pages to slander me. They're attacking my business and they're destroying my sponsorships. And for me, it doesn't matter. If they can attack me all they want. But you guys are now destroying resources for sick children. To cover up mortgage fraud committed against me. So please tune into the next video where I will go over what I submitted to Raina Hughes in December of 2018 in the legal separation documents. Because not only did I submit the respondent documents that we submitted to GLVAR that produced the proof of fraud, I also submitted to her the abuse that I suffered at the hands of Bobby Antee for 6 months before I found out I wasn't on the deed. So please sign the petition, share these videos, www.change.org, Justice for Aiden's mom.